the Turnbull government.
Thank you, Senator Lyons. Senator Ludlam.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. I want to speak tonight about what haircuts and blood cancer have in common. Not a lot, you might imagine at the outset. But last week I met a woman by the name of Serena Marie Dawson, and in 2002, at just 29 years of age, Ms Dawson was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, which is a form of blood cancer. And her bright demeanour really belied the 14-year battle that she has had with this form of blood cancer. 14 years, and she has relied and drawn very heavily on the extraordinary volunteers and staff of the Leukemia Foundation for support, and she described to us the remarkable difference that that foundation has made in her life, and gave us a bit of an insight into just how many people the Leukemia Foundation has helped. Between emotional counselling and financial support, transport to and from treatments each month, the accommodation facilities when she was flown to Melbourne for treatment, and even really thoughtful things, just care packages of fresh food and groceries delivered to her door after extended periods of time in hospital. And Serena spoke of the hope that she has that research undertaken by the Leukemia Foundation would one day find a cure for blood cancer. Now, whether it be a greater understanding of the molecular biology of cancers or other forms of research, but researchers are closing in on the development of many new drugs that target specific genetic changes associated with, or indeed that cause, these cancers. And leukemias, as many senators know, strike the elderly, they strike the young, they strike children, men, women. It's an incredibly indiscriminate, complex and difficult thing to treat. Some of the discoveries that the researchers, global research effort has uncovered and identified involve new approaches to cures or successful management of many cancers that thereby stop their progress or at least keep some symptoms under control. So there has been extraordinary progress in recent decades. But some of the new drugs still may have undesirable side effects, but generally they are much less toxic than the traditional heavy-duty chemotherapy that's been used in the past. And while some blood cancers are still very dependent on traditional chemo, the new targeted therapies that are here now, and many others on the horizon, potentially reduce the side effects of heavy-duty chemotherapies. One of the things I discovered that there is no one leukemia. This is a whole variety of different conditions that can attack people without warning, as indeed was Serena's experience. So in 2015, the Leukemia Foundation's research indicated the importance of clinical trials in providing patients with access to new therapies not yet reimbursed on the PBS. And of those people who tried to access these new therapies, only around half of them succeeded. And of those who were able to access new therapies through a trial, 3/4 reported a beneficial response with no detectable disease or actually achieved remission. Most new blood cancer medicines are very expensive and they're therefore beyond the reach of the average Australian, and most people can only afford these drugs when they're made available through the PBS. And that's why the Leukemia Foundation is calling on the federal government to improve access to new cancer drugs that are not available through the PBS, and to continue to implement the recommendations of the Clinical Trials Action Group to ensure that more Australians have access to clinical trials and new medicines. Because although survival rates are actually improving, blood cancers are the third highest cause of cancer death in Australia. That's higher than better-known cancers like breast cancer and melanomas. And more than 1,200 Western Australians will be diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma or myeloma this year, and that's 23 people each week just in WA. The national figures obviously roughly 10 times higher. So what on earth does this have to do with haircuts? Because these things can happen, this can happen to anyone, young and old. Anybody can make a difference, including politicians. So I have signed up, for the first time, to the world's greatest shave, and I'm thrilled to have already reached my initial target to have raised $5,000, and I want to thank everyone who's contributed thus far. I've started a fund. You can donate to a fund and I will shave my hair, or you can donate to a fund and I won't. And I'm pleased to announce that as of tonight, the fund to shave Gary, that's probably a longer story, has reached $1,925, but the fund to save my hair has reached $2,887. There's 3 weeks to go before the big shave, and so I've obviously revised my fundraising goal. If colleagues want to help out with this haircut, they're welcome to do so. So please help me raise these funds by donating at the worldsgreatestshave.com. Senator Abetz, you're welcome to donate
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you, Senator.